Ladies and gentlemen, America's backyard just turned into a battlefield. Basically, a political bombshell has exploded in Washington. And this time, it didn't come from Congress or Pentagon or the CIA. It came straight from Donald Trump in his very unmistakably fiery style. Well, at a charged campaign rally. Well, in front of thousands of people cheering for him, Donald Trump dropped a line that stunned the diplomats from Mexico City to Bogota. I would be proud to launch military strikes inside Mexico and Colombia. Yes, he said that. And the region, well, it's still shaking. Two countries, one war, and America right in the middle. That's right, Donald Trump, he didn't speak in very vague hints. He named the countries, he named the targets, he even claimed the US intelligence already knows the exact coordinates of cocaine mega labs, major cartel hideouts, drug trafficking routes feeding the US cities. In fact, according to him, Washington has all the data, all the maps, all the intel. And if Mexico and Colombia, they don't act, America must. This is not foreign policy, this is an open threat. Here is a message from Mr. Trump, I'll take the fight across the border. Trump framed the problem like a battlefield story, Drugs killing Americans, cartels growing stronger, latent governments not doing enough, millions of young people trapped in addiction. Then he kind of paused, he looked at the crowd and said, we have to be willing to do the tough things. He didn't hesitate, he didn't soften his tone, he doubled down. This is Trump at his most aggressive and most controversial. After that, within hours basically, Latin American leaders, they were very angry. Mexico called the idea an assault on national sovereignty. Colombia called it dangerous and destabilizing. And analysts across the entire region warned that the US military strike could spark chaos, retaliation, and even a diplomatic crisis between the neighbors. And they are kind of right. Washington, bombing countries in its own backyard, could rewrite decades of diplomacy, and that too in the Western Hemisphere. So, let's talk about the big question. Under international law, the answer is complicated, but more importantly, under the US law, it is explosive. Congress would have to approve, Pentagon would need a legal framework, NATO allies in the meantime would be dragged into this debate. The UN, well, that organization could react within minutes. Basically, Trump, he had made one thing very, very clear, that he believes he has the will and the power to act. But aren't you wondering what this means for America? Military action inside Mexico or Colombia would mean that the US troops will be fighting cartels. In fact, massive retaliation by criminal networks, border chaos, a humanitarian crisis, tensions with Latin American governments. In fact, there will be global condemnation and a new war on drugs far more deadly than before. This is not a simple declaration, by the way, this is a chain reaction waiting to explode. Let me tell you what is this new reality. With one speech, Trump has forced every single government in that particular region to rethink their strategy. Mexico and Colombia must decide now. Do they really confront Trump directly? Do they increase the coordination with Washington? Do they harden their borders? Do they call for international intervention? And in the middle of all of this, Americans are asking their own questions. Is this bold leadership or reckless diplomacy? So right now, the Western Hemisphere just became the world's new flashpoint after the Middle East. This is not about drugs anymore. This is about sovereignty. This is about power. This is about how far the United States is actually willing to go.